In this episode, I will focus on a sinister cabal that through a strategic breeding program is a terrifying threat to the human race. No, I'm not talking about the Cardassians, it's my Genestealer Cult showcase. I'm Geoff and welcome to the painting phase. Last year, while looking around my usual 40k Facebook haunts, I was very kindly invited to join a new group. The group is called Faith Damnation and it's ran by its diligent leader, Zach Taylor. It quickly became apparent that this page was different from other ones I visited. It's a friendly, supportive place with lots of access to resources by excellent painters who are happy to help us ordinary Joes become better at what we do. The thing that I love about it most of all is its sense of community, and it's that community that led to this episode being created. Early last year, Zach decided to create a mammoth task for himself and the group. He thought it would be a good idea to have an auction raising money for the charity Calm. And the top prize of this auction was a fully painted Genestealer Cult army. It would be funded and built by members of the group. Francesco Olivieri, an amazing painter, was responsible for coming up with the paint scheme to make it easy for other people to follow. The whole army would then be based and organised by Daniel Friskin, and then both he and Zach would deliver it to the lucky winner. Well, that lucky winner turned out to be me. So in honour of all the hard work that went into what is known at Faith and Damnation as the charity army, I thought I'd take this opportunity to show the army to you all and then paint a neophyte hybrid to join the ranks of this fantastic collaboration. The standout model for me in this army by a country mile is the Patriarch. Not only a centerpiece model I think in any Genestealer Cult army, but just painted to an absolutely stunning level. His hand against his brain as if he's sending out psychic information and orders, or maybe just giving the tactics some really major serious thought, and perched upon a small bit of industrial piping. He not only looks like he's in charge of the army, but also looks like he's very much living underground, like hiding away from the humans that have yet to find out about him taking over the planet. A really, really beautiful model. Everybody who's involved in this project has put 100% into it. Its uniformity is fantastic. He was very kind to the guys to paint me a massively big Genestealer Cult army, but like any wargamer, you've just got to keep adding to it. So I've just recently bought a Goliath truck and I'm going to paint a neophyte hybrid that's going to become one of the crew members for that. I primed the neophyte black and then decided to start with the skin. I gave them a base coat of Xandri dust and then went in with some shading of Magos purple. I applied this to his temples and any of the recesses in his face. For the first highlights, I applied Kislev flesh, mainly around the cheekbones, across the brows, and where possible to find them, the bumps that points out the mutations of being a member of the Genestealer Cult. I applied some more glazes of Magos flesh where required to create a more alien looking colour to the skin. For the final highlight, I applied pallid witch flesh. I applied it to the raised areas of the face, such as the brows, the cheekbones, and the bumps in the skull. I then, after doing the skin, I moved on to the armour. I painted all of the armour with Administratum Grey. Once that was dry, and probably best to give that 2 coats, I then applied a wash of non-oil to the armour, allowing it to settle into the recesses. Once that was done, I then gave an extreme highlight of grey cere, again just picking out the sharpest edges of the armour on the miniature. An extra little hint that I picked up from Infernal Brush was that I diluted some Scrag Brown heavily and just applied that to the armour and allow it to drop just into the recesses again, creating a more industrial and weathered look for the Genestealer Cult. The Neophyte's undersuit was given a base coat of Calador Sky. Once that was dry, I then moved on to giving it a highlight, especially around the pocket edges and any of the creases, with Araman Blue. once that was in, I then gave an extreme highlight with, I may well murder this, people, I do apologise, Bahareth Blue. Does that sound? Yeah, maybe. Don't know. Bahareth Blue, I think, is how I'm going to go with pronounce. I don't even know what a Bahareth is, so I'm sorry. Once I finished the overalls, I found the blue to be a little bit too extreme for my taste, probably just from me not applying it very well. I then took some Lamian medium and some nun oil. I gave them a little bit of a mix, and I reapplied that to the whole overalls, and then I just tied it in a little bit better for my personal tastes. When it came to painting the auto rifle on the Neophyte, I could have spent a long time working through a whole range of different metallics to get a really good crisp finish. But these guys are going to get fielded in 20s when you're painting them. So I decided to go for my favourite cheap method, which is I went with Vallejo Model Air Metallic Black. It's a great colour to start metals from. It gives a great great level of recess shading to anything that you're painting metallic. And then once I'd done that, I gave one simple highlight of Game Colour Silver. I prefer Game Colour Silver. I know across a lot of YouTubers, they're big fans of metallic air chrome. I personally find it a little bit runny. So Game Colour, also from Vallejo, their silver is the one for me. I did all of the leathers on the Neophyte exactly the same. The belts, the boots, the holsters, the pouches, all done exactly the same. I gave them a base coat of Rhinox hide. I then followed that up with a coat of Mornfang brown, and then a final extreme highlight of Scrag brown. The orange breathing hose attached to the sides of the Neophyte's armour, I gave a base coat of Trollsail orange. After the orange was dry, I applied a contrast of Nazdrake yellow. I applied a thin extreme highlight of Uriel yellow to the orange hose. Whilst I had it open, I also then applied the Uriel yellow to the searchlight mounted on his shoulder. Going into the final stretch with the Neophyte, I painted the Genestealer Cult badge with Liberator Gold. I then gave it a shade of Gorgrunta Fair contrast paint. The Dynamite was painted with Mephiston, red. The Dynamite was painted with Mephiston red and then given a single highlight with Evil Sun Scarlet. The remaining metals were painted in the same way as the rifle, initially with metallic black and then given a highlight of Game Colour Silver. A small highlight of white was added to the searchlight. The green tubing on the back of the Neophyte and also coming around the side of his armour was painted with Warpstone Glow. I also applied this to the goggles and then gave a final highlight with Moot Green to both the lenses and the tubing. So there you have it, that's how I paint a Neophyte hybrid using the Faith Damnation paint recipe. No.
Brother! For the Emperor!
You get there.
So there you have it, that's how I paint a Neophyte hybrid using the Faith Damnation paint recipe. So, the last thing to say, as they've been the star of the show already, Faith Damnation, a really lovely bunch of guys who really put the emphasis into community with regards to all aspects of this hobby. Go and check them out, they're really worth your time. They also have competitions from time to time, and you never know. Further down the line, they might know there's another one just of this size, and it might be you that wins that. And from me, a final thank you to everybody who took part in painting the Charity Army. I'm very proud to own it. And the work that went into it is absolutely amazing, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for allowing me to be the custodian of such a great prize. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. A thinned down amount of...
Burn them all! Purge the unclean!